Hi there. So I hear you've been struggling with heavy periods for quite some time. I'm sorry to hear that. How long has the heavy bleeding been going on for? Has it been just the past couple months, or has it been for as long as you can remember? Based on the symptoms that you've described to me, it sounds like there's definitely more to the story than just you having normal heavy periods. You're going through your period products way faster than what most people would be, and the symptoms that you described earlier are not normal. You should not be having increased fatigue, dizziness, palpitations, or being more pale than usual. So we drew some blood work and I wanted to review that with you today. It looks like your hemoglobin is 8 and your ferritin levels are 9. Both of these are much lower than what's considered the normal range and would show that your heavy periods are causing something called iron deficient anemia. And the symptoms that you described earlier certainly support this. Now, it's important for us to get that hemoglobin and ferritin level back up, but it's also important for us to figure out what's causing the bleeding to happen so much. Sometimes having heavy periods could be that there's an undiagnosed underlying bleeding disorder. So I definitely want to have that addressed. I noticed that your platelets are a little bit low. So you were 125, and the normal range starts at 150. So certainly not terrible, but below what's considered normal. Do you bruise pretty easily? Okay. I wanted to draw some more labs today just to kind of get more information about how fast or how slow it takes your specific blood to clot. I would also like to refer you to a gynecologist. They can look at if there's any sort of gynecological sources of what's going on with your heavy bleeding, and they can also treat you for any conditions like that. Sometimes it can take a little while to get an appointment with them though, so there's two things I want to work on in the meantime. First of all, I want to start you on a oral iron supplement that you'll just take once a day, every day. There can be a few side effects with it though, typically GI related. Sometimes it can cause some constipation or diarrhea, and sometimes it doesn't happen at all. If you find yourself in either of those situations, feel free to take any over-the-counter medicines, such as any sort of stool softeners or Imodium, depending on what situation you're in. With iron supplements, it can also cause your stools to turn black. That can be a little alarming, but it is completely normal. What is not normal would be if your stools became tarry in consistency or had any blood in them. I would definitely want you to give me a call if that happens to be the case with you. I also want you to tell me a little bit more about your diet. There are certainly some foods that are more iron rich compared to other foods that I want to have you start eating more of. This would consist of meat, beans, and leafy greens. So I think between starting you on the oral iron supplement and then also just eating more foods with iron in them would definitely help bring those levels back up. I want to see you back in our office in about a month so we can redraw a CBC and an iron panel on you just to see if those levels have increased. If for some reason those interventions have not worked, there is an option for IV iron that we can consider in the future. What questions do you have for me?